Good morning. Welcome back to Sanborn Meadow Farm. It's kind of a foggy, dreary October day in between two weather systems. One that the last couple of days has been very cold and raw and resulted in snowflakes not too far north of here. And then another one that's coming tonight and tomorrow, where tomorrow's high temperature is expected to be near 80. So like I had said in a previous video, we are in that seesaw season where we oscillate back and forth between summer and winter, often in the same day and same week. Yay. So it's not sunny today, so it's a good day for me to work outside and try to get something done before it gets too hot again. So today I thought I would tackle the propane tank project. This is probably going to be a multiple day project, but I thought I'd get started cleaning up this area and getting my disguise implemented, and I'll reveal that later in the video. But I'm going to start today and we'll see how it goes, and hopefully I can get this knocked off my to-do list before winter sets in. First, however, I've got to get rid of this sand pile that I put here a couple of months ago when the propane tanks were installed and we needed sand to fill in the ditch where the gas line was buried. And of course you can only buy certain quantities, and I only used I think about half of what I bought. So I'm going to move this down by the pond where I may use it in part of that ongoing project, and get it out of here so that this area can get cleaned up for winter. Well, the sand is moved, and now I can actually get going on this part of the project. Before I do anything with disguising these tanks, I need to clear away this Annabelle a little bit. I'm not going to dig her up or move her. She's going to stay right there. This is Annabelle from my friend Wendy. Hi, Wendy. I'm going to just trim the heads off, the dead heads. I usually do that anyway this time of year because as the winter goes on, the heads just fall off and then end up blowing all over the yard. So I cut those down, cut them off. I don't really prune it back hard. I leave it, probably about this high. It blooms on new wood, so there's no risk of harming any blooms for next year because it hasn't even formed where it's going to bloom next year. So and then I'm going to try to assess whether it needs to have a chunk taken out of it to pull it away from the tank. I think it might, only because it's only going to get bigger, and the longer I wait, the more difficult it's going to be to get in there and dig out a chunk of it. So it's probably best if I do that now and save myself the trouble in a couple of years of having to take apart the structure and then dig her out. So I'm going to do that first and then get to the big reveal. Okay, Annabelle has had a really nice haircut. As you can see, I've left it pretty tall, and she'll fill out again next spring. Here's the edge of the tank, and there's probably a good 1.5 feet between the tank and the base of the Annabelle. I did cut out one big branch that was headed toward the tank and trim back another. So I actually think this will be okay. I may cut out this one branch here actually, because that kind of sticks out a little bit. But I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna leave her the way she is and go forward with the project. I wanted to show you this. This wall was here when we moved in. The previous homeowner had built it. And over the years, these ferns have taken up residence in the wall. And every year they spread a little more. I'll come over on this side of the tanks here, and you can see they've sort of colonized the wall. And I just think it's the coolest thing. So I leave them. I don't fight the ferns, at least not in this area anyway. So I think this is just so cool. Adds a little bit to the shade garden without me doing anything. They just show up. All right, that done. Now I'm ready to start putting together the disguise for these tanks. I thought about building a big fence with a gate and all that, but cost-wise that was a little prohibitive. Don't really want to spend a lot of money. Want it to be something that I can just move if I have to get it out of the way if we ever need to replace these tanks or something happens. So I don't want anything that's permanent. So I came up with this. Hang on. Bamboo fencing. Oh! So I got 4-foot high bamboo fencing. This is real bamboo, and it's wired together in a fence panel. And you can cut the wires so that you can cut the panels to length. And so I'm gonna try to make a little enclosure using the bamboo and, hang on, and posts. And I'm gonna wire the bamboo fence to these posts. You shouldn't be able to see these once I get the fencing around them. And the fencing should be, I'll raise it up on the posts enough that you hopefully won't be able to see the blue caps when you're looking at the fence. There might be a little gap at the bottom, which is okay, but at least won't be able to see the blue caps either from this direction or from the kitchen, because we can see them around the corner here on the house. Our kitchen looks out and can see these. And so every morning when I get my tea and I stand at the sink and look out, I see these tanks, and it's just, ugh. So I can't wait to cover these up. Anyway, so let me get to work on this and see how it goes. getting later in the afternoon and it started drizzling a little bit, and I just don't feel like being outside in this anymore. So, but I think I got a lot done. I'm pretty excited about it. I like the way it looks. I think I might change one thing. I'll have to try it and see if I like it, but it's a bit more see-through than I thought it was going to be. So I think I might put some landscape fabric behind here, just attach it to the wires along the back of the panel, and that should block the tanks from being visible while still giving, you know, this really nice warm bamboo look on the outside. The other thing I have to finish, well, actually two things I have to finish, is how these panels are going to close. I'm going to come up with some sort of latch system where these two sections here that are going to be able to be opened up for filling of the gas tanks, how they're going to latch together and hopefully support themselves a little better. I was somewhat limited in where I could put the support posts because of the buried gas line. Obviously don't want to drive a post in the middle of the gas line. That would be bad. So I had to put them off center, kind of in the middle of each tank, and so the swinging panels sort of hang without any support. I'll try to come up with something, put my thinking cap on tonight, and come back at this tomorrow and see what I come up with. So that'll be it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Welcome back. It's been a couple of days since I last left you in the previous segment, and it is really chilly this morning. We went through a day of like 70 degrees and now we're back to 30 right now, maybe 40. So yeah, as with most projects on the farm here, I start something and then something else calls me over to deal with a problem or something that has to be done right away. And next thing you know, it's 3 days later and I'm back to the project that I was originally starting. It's a bit scattered here on the farm. But I did finish this project, at least as much as I'm gonna do this season. There's some stuff I'll show you that I'll do in the spring, but for now I can cross this one off the list and move on to the next thing on my list. So let me show you what I did. If you recall, I was having a bit of a problem with the fencing, this bamboo fencing sagging in the middle in between posts. Each of the little bamboo reeds are attached with wires, and I don't know if you can see here. There's a big wire running through all of these bamboo posts, and they're wired in 3 different places, top, middle, and bottom, and they were sagging a bit. So what I did was I cut a piece of bamboo and wired it to the fence using this green plastic coated wire. Not ideal, but it's what I had. And what I did was I wound it around the wire in the fencing here, so that the wire is kept straight. And that seems to be enough support that this is now pretty level. And I did that on the sides as well as the front, where it's fixed between the 2 posts. I tried doing it on the inside and I had a really hard time. There's not a whole lot of space in there to work on the inside. And from a distance, this actually looks pretty nice. You don't see the green wire and it gives it some sort of, I don't know, structure. Or, yeah, I think it looks fine. I may replace the green wire at some point with maybe black waxed cord, which is traditional in Asian and Japanese design with bamboo structures. So I'll see. But for now, this is what I have to work with. For the doors, I'll pan back here. I had to figure out some way to latch this section here where the doors could be opened easily by the gas company when they came to fill it. So I came up with this little latch system. It's a piece of bamboo lashed onto the door, which I reinforced with a additional set of 3 bamboo pieces. And I used this black cord that we had, and again, I may replace it with black waxed cord at some point in the future. And then on the other panel, I made a loop using cord, and so these two fasten together. And when they're fastened, this door panel here is supported by the other door panel, and they're relatively level across. The 3 bamboo stakes or bamboo pieces that I lashed to this gate panel extend all the way down here and offer support to the whole thing. I needed a way to keep these doors from sagging, and I figured this was a good fix. So I lashed 3 pieces of bamboo that are wired together. There are pieces that came off of an end piece of the roll of bamboo that I cut up to fit. And this leg here currently sits on the ground, but I'm going to find a nice little rock to put in there to support it. This holds the gate up, and it seems to function pretty well. So when the gas company comes to fill, you just open up the loop here, and you can pull this door open and this door open and have access to the tanks, and then close it when you're done. The next thing I did for this area, and I just worked on this little corner of the shade garden. As you can see, the rest of the shade garden has some cleanup work to do. But in this corner, I raked everything out, all the leaves out, and I cut down all of the hostas and some of the geraniums and other things, ferns that were, getting ready to go dormant for the winter anyway, and cleaned it all out. I take all of this debris and I put it out on the lawn, nearby lawn, and I'm going to mow it and chop it up and then put it back onto the soil here, and then add some compost on top of that, which will set the garden up really well for spring and spring planting. But for the winter, I put in this little pathway to the gas tanks. And as you can see, if I back up here, try not to trip over anything as I walk backwards. This is the seating area, and then the entrance to the shade garden. So the gas people need to access that. So I tried to make it obvious for them. And in the winter, once the snow falls, we'll shovel a path here. So we had these concrete pavers that were left by the previous homeowner stacked up in a corner somewhere. And I thought, these would be perfect. Being a thrifty New Englander, I like to repurpose things that I already have. So I just placed these into the ground, nice little pathway that leads to the gas tanks. And I will plant in the spring, plant more stuff around this pathway so that kind of blends everything in. But for now, I think this is where I'm going to leave this project. I have to show you one thing before I go. This right here is our wellhead, our drinking water well, and it's disguised by a little tower of stones. And a couple of years ago, well, more than a couple of years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, when I built this little cover for the wellhead, I found this little round, I don't even know what it is, cement thing that was lying in the garden. And I just placed it on top because it was circular and it looked like a nice little cap for this arrangement of stones. And over the years, it's just stayed here the entire time. It hasn't moved. Over the years, it's accumulated this mosaic of moss and lichen, and I adore it. I think it is just so pretty. I'm such a plant geek, and I like geek out over the smallest little things like this. But I just think that is beautiful, and it makes me happy. So it will stay as almost like a little garden art piece. Well, that project's done, and so is this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that you're here, and please join me for the next video coming soon, which is an update, give you a little peek, on the kitchen view garden, which has changed dramatically since the last time I showed it to you, and I'm really excited to show you the updates. But for now, I'm gonna go inside and get warm because my hands are freezing, and yeah, get something warm to drink. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.